I used to, when I first did SEO starting in like, 2007, I was a white labeler, but there were no terms for white labeler. Like somebody had asked me, do you white label? I would have said, what is that? And like you just kind of hustling. I wonder if you could just like dive in a little deeper and talk about like just that grit period and kind of getting it off the ground. Cause I think that's the hardest period of really actually the business. I always say it's like it's harder to go from 0 to 1 than it is to go from 2 to 10, and 2 to 10 is harder than going from like 11 to 100. And I wonder if you could just share like the kinds of things you were doing in that beginning period just to like kind of get any traction at all or any kind of sales or just having not even, let's say it's not a business at this point, but at least it's a hobby that pays for itself.
Yeah. So to give people an idea, in 2015, that's when we hit 1 million in revenue. And then, in 16, that doubled, and 17, that scaled beyond 5 million and so on. But so before 2015, we were under 1 million in revenue. And I mean, early on, especially in those early days, I couldn't afford to get a website freshly designed. So, I had a background where I knew like HTML and CSS and some JavaScript and things like that. I'd reach out to a colleague of mine to help me design a logo. I was doing all of it. So at that point, there's no way. I don't want to say there's no way around it. Although I do truly believe that, because I don't want to send the wrong message. But there's no way around the work early on. Let me put it that way. Totally. I see a lot of people trying to like get that balance from the onset, and I believe balance is earned. So meaning that when I had $500 to my name in 2012, I couldn't be thinking about work-life balance or working 8 hours a day or whatever it is. I mean, if I was doing that then, what took us, let's say, a few years to get to 1 million, maybe it would have taken 10 years, maybe, who knows, right? Like to me, that would have taken far too long. And that's if all the variables remain the same. Yeah. That's assuming that like you would have gotten to market soon enough, the product market fit would have still made sense. You still would have been able to scale it. So, especially in those early days, I'd wake up probably, 4:30 in the morning and start working. I might take a nap during the day, and I'd be going probably till, midnight, 1 a.m. every single night. And I was, at that time, we had no focus. And I keep saying we, I'm just kind of going back to that time.
Well, it is a we. It's Michael, the janitor. It's Michael, the web guy. It's Michael, the sales guy. It's Michael, the video guy. A we.
Frank, we were doing, when I say like video, this was video for anybody. So there was no industry focus. It was anybody who needed a video, period, right? Because at the time, I didn't feel that we could be picky, nor that I know anything about, focusing on a niche. Yeah. So we would do a video. I remember there was a time where if you need to film a dental office, we'd do that. If it was a bar mitzvah, sure, we'd do that. And one time we got a call from the executive assistant to a CEO who couldn't make it to like his son's soccer tournament. And this is like a cautionary tale. Don't be this guy. But he wanted us to film it so he could watch it later. So yeah, of course, we would do that. And then it set on me later that it was kind of odd to send a grown man to film a young child playing soccer. Right.
Just look like a pedophile in the back.
Yeah, but it didn't. At the time, it didn't set in until we actually got to the tournament. But even that, okay, great, we'll do it. We'll film it. And I also will say when I mention grit a lot, there was so many constant setbacks. Like there was a moment where early on, this was in the first or second year where I had to, I got to a point where I really needed this one deal to happen. And it was with this dentist. And when I say I needed it to happen, it was necessary just to even cover our costs that month. And I had one contractor working for me just to be able to pay this person. And I got off the phone with this dentist. He said, all right, let's move forward. Beautiful. I go outside. I call my mom and dad. I'm so excited that, hit the target that we needed to hit for that month. And then I go back inside. And essentially, like this is the time when people are still sending faxes. Back in 2012, 13, they were still doing that. And I see what's supposed to be his agreement come through, but it's blank. So I call him and I'm like, I realize, okay, he sent it upside down. So I call him and I'm like, hey, I think you just sent it back upside down. Can you just, resend it? And he pauses and says, that must be a sign from God. I'm not moving forward. Right? He thought that because it came through upside down, that like that was some sign. And I had things like this happen constantly. So, you go from these moments of elation to being crushed. And then I realized, okay, well, I couldn't rely on that. So then I spent all weekend trying to build out these cold email sequences to reach out to people. And I was reaching out to like audiologists and whatever, just I needed to sell a video. Okay. So it wasn't, one of these things where I could be picky, but I had to get it done. And when you put yourself in those moments with that amount of pressure, you have to find a way. I think it's a great forcing function. And when it's happening to you, it doesn't feel great. But I will say, when you're in a position as an entrepreneur where you have to make something happen, it's amazing how creative you will be. And it's amazing, like just the different opportunities that you will see. And through enough of those wins, you really start to build confidence. Just because before I did that, I didn't know what a cold email sequence was. I didn't know what a cadence was. I didn't know anything about email deliverability. I didn't know any of that stuff. And basically I was in a position where I got to sell a video, and I worked backwards from there and figure out, okay, what do I have to learn? So that's it. In a way, it's you're forcing yourself and you're putting yourself in situations that bring about a tremendous amount of pain that you have to work through. And I sense that a lot of people that cannot take that pain and pressure and can't take those continuous setbacks, they never get to where they want to go. Let me put it that way, because I was getting a reason to give up probably, I don't know, at least once a week, if not once a day. I mean, it sucks, right? And by the way, when all this is going on, when I'm starting the so-called business in quotes with $500 to my name, my friends are, they're getting promotions, they're buying homes, they're buying new cars. Like the path that they're down looks a lot more stable than mine.